February Groovers, it's Jules here, bringing you another jolly old video on drawing, planning and publishing. This week it is the turn of planning. So go and get your bullet journal out. Firstly, I would like to apologise for the British weather. It's kind of sunny, cloudy, windy, rainy. We're getting everything thrown at us today, so if you see the light change a lot, blame the weather and the Met Office because they're in charge of the weather. If you've started your bullet journal this year, then you can check out the video that I made on how to actually make a bullet journal, a sort of overview of how I do it. But the thing about bullet journals is that it has to work for you, it has to be really personalised and fine-tuned for what you need it for. Does that make sense? Okay, so Grammarly, for me it's all about having a kind of calendar, diary, task list, keeping me on track. Some people use it for things like tracking their mood, tracking their sleep habits, tracking how much water they're drinking. I don't use it like that, but you can if you want to. So my advice is just to think about how you live your life and make it fit that, because after all, a bullet journal is just actually a notebook in which you can add whatever you like. You can have it just plain, you can have it funky, you can have it lots of stickers, drawings, whatever you like. They were just my suggestions. Anyway, on to today's video. The theme this month I have taken from my nature journal, which I did all through last year. I made a diary on every day in my journal, and about this time last year I was seeing a lot of blue tits. So I thought, that's my theme, blue tits. Let's chit chat, more bullet journaling, let's go. If you've seen any of my videos before, you will know that I love Papermate Flare pens. This is the Tropical Vacation colour variety. They are lovely to write on the paper with, and I use them mostly for when I'm book signing. They just write beautifully, and they're quite thin. They're about a 0.3 or 0.4, so they don't really do that whole thick and thin calligraphy kind of style, but you can of course do faux calligraphy. And I will be using those throughout, as well as my Staedtler pens, and I'll link all of that below. If you're interested in writing or illustrating children's books, then you could have a look at the video series I made last month. They talk about the sort of things that you need to know before you start your project. And if 2020 is going to be the year you make your book happen, then I've got something that is really going to be helpful. I've made a step-by-step course that will take you right from your written idea to when you are print ready, and it's the exact formula that I've used many times over to produce my own books, so I know it works. And even one of my students said recently that it was a really invaluable resource to get her started. I'll leave the link below, you can go straight through to see the free preview. You can use your different pens for creating different effects. Here I'm doing the faux calligraphy, so on the right hand side of every downward stroke I'm just making it thicker to make it look like it is calligraphy. And I'm using different sorts of pens. This is a Staedtler Tri-Colour, quite thick. I've also used my Staedtler pigment liner, and of course this is another Papermate Flare in black. So you can use the different pens to make different effects depending on which words you think need to stand out. I'm just outlining here with Staedtler pigment liner the first of our birds, and I have, as you could probably see from that close-up, that I have actually drawn it underneath very lightly in pencil. I'm going to rub it out in a minute, but make sure when you're rubbing out, you rub from the centre of the page outwards so you don't get any of those horrible creases on the edges of your paper. And this is just some little lines I've done, I think a 0.1, to draw some little lines to show the feather texture. Colour scheme this month is going to be the blue, the yellow, bright yellow and black. And these are water-soluble colouring pencils with a little bit of brown for some branches, and that's pretty much it colour-wise, I think.
I mentioned in the intro that I've been making a nature journal. This is the basis for my next, actually my 11th book. It's called Bloomin' Marvellous, A Year of Nature. Every day, usually on my dog walks, I looked and listened out for birds and insects and animals and plants. And it was a really lovely project to do, and I'm very happy how it's turned out. You can check out the posts on Instagram that chart the entire year, and the book will be out in a couple of months. So I'll leave a link below for if you want to join my book club and keep up to date with when it will be published. On these pages I've got a gratitude, and I've got up the top here a sort of grasshopper mind, which is the equivalent of a brain dump, I suppose. And down the bottom, another little blue tit. If any of you live in the UK, you'll have seen these guys hanging upside down on a bird feeder. I don't know why they do it, they're just a bit crazy. This double page spread is my master task list, and it's split into 4 areas of work. And they've quite often got a lot going on, which is why I've taken up both pages. So I've got YouTube, Story Festival, books and other. And the Story Festival happens on the Isle of Wight 21st and 22nd of February, so not very long now. So that one will definitely be filled up. And if you can hear some snoring, it's not me snoring, it's the dog next to me. If you can hear the wind howling, again, not me, it's the wind. On this page, this is my first weekly spread. Those of you who are very astute will notice that there are more than 7 days there. That's because I really didn't want to spend another double page spread on just 2 days, because 1st of February is on a Saturday this month. So the top is going to be Saturday and Sunday, and then all the way down the bottom box there is deeper, because that is going to be a Saturday and a Sunday together. And I also messed up the dates on the following week, so don't do what I did. Make sure you write it in pencil first, check it. Stat tracker for the end of the month, and here's a quick flick through. Hope you enjoy it.
There is an old saying, those who don't love garden birds aren't worth knowing. Okay, I may have just made that up. So I encourage you to get outside and see what is lurking under the bushes. It's a great time of year to see birds in the UK because the deciduous trees are naked. Ooh. And that means the birds have less to hide behind or in. And also they're quite hungry, so they tend to come out and feed on your bird feeders. So get out there, have a look, see if you can see something interesting to look at. And if you don't know what it is, then a good website to have a look at is the RSPB website. They've got an identifier there, really good, very helpful. I'll link it below. That's it for now. Join me next week for some blue titterage, where we will be making and drawing some blue tits. Bring along with you some colouring pencils, water soluble if you've got that, and some thick paper like cartridge. I'm off to stick a beak on my face and go and learn how to sing like a blue tit. I will see you next time. Nanu nanu!